You've heard of Dubai, home to the world's tallest building, man-made islands shaped like palm trees, indoor ski slope in the desert, and luxury malls where you can buy a Bentley and a Birkin in one afternoon. It's the Middle East's poster child for glamour, ambition, and sky-high living. But compared to the subject of our 2-episode series, Dubai is the flashy little brother in an empire that's quietly setting the rules of the game. And that empire? The United Arab Emirates, a federation of 7 emirates, each with its own ruler, but united under a single president and federal government. And the bigger brother to Dubai? The focus of our series is Abu Dhabi. Hi, you're listening to Beyond the Reefs, a show produced by Radio Taiwan International. Here we talk about socio-economic issues faced by Taiwan and their broader impact around the world beyond the reefs of this island nation. Abu Dhabi is the capital of the United Arab Emirates and the wealthiest of its 7 emirates. While Dubai dazzles, Abu Dhabi funds. It controls all over 90% of the country's oil reserves and invests heavily through sovereign funds, that's state-owned investment vehicles that manage national wealth for long-term returns, quietly shaping global industries from green energy to AI to Hollywood. But it's not just about money. Abu Dhabi has taken a more measured, strategic path, building cultural institutions like the Louvre Abu Dhabi, universities like NYU Abu Dhabi, and championing diplomacy that's made it one of the Middle East's most stable and pragmatic players. It's also becoming a new home for people across Asia, including many from Taiwan, who are seeking opportunity, security, and a very different kind of future. And that brings us to our guest today. Meara He is a Taiwanese entrepreneur, a board member of the Taiwanese Chamber of Commerce in the UAE, and founder of Transparent Property Management. But her journey to Abu Dhabi is anything but typical, so let's welcome Meara He, Taiwanese businesswoman, community leader, and founder of one of the UAE's few Mandarin-speaking property management firms. So, welcome, Meara.
Should I clap for myself?
Clap for yourself.
Hey, great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for stopping by. You're not always here in Taiwan, so
No.
what brought you here at this time around, by the way?
Well, first is because we just had the annual gathering, the Chamber of Commerce. So every year they have like a week of gathering of members from different Asian countries.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of mandatory for the members to, not the members, but the board members to join. So yeah, I was told that it's mandatory and I have to come here. And plus, I usually take my kids back to Taiwan to practice their English. Oh, sorry, not English. They speak
Mandarin,
enough
yeah.
English already to practice their Mandarin because, they grew up in the Middle East. Mandarin is really not their first language. So but I try to.
I would have thought that there would be so much Chinese investment there that maybe there's more Chinese-speaking communities in the UAE.
Yeah, there are. But because my kids, they go to British school, since my husband is British, so they go to British school, and then, English is just their first language, unfortunately.
Okay, I see. Yeah. So it's your job to now take them to Mandarin classes and make sure that they don't lose touch.
I'm a tiger mom. Asian tiger mom. But I kind of gave up on them learning how to write Chinese characters. I just want them to be able to converse in Mandarin, really.
It's okay. I think for our parents, writing was still very important. To learn like Zhuyin, Pinyin was very important. But really, honestly, like
I'm counting on ChatGPT.
That's what the next generation is not going to end up writing much, are they?
Probably not. Even my handwriting is awful.
Me too.
So.
I can't remember how to write most of the characters in the Chinese, language, and often I have to type things
That's
into WhatsApp.
how you end up being an English radio DJ.
Exactly. But the worst part is when you fill out forms and you
Right.
just want to write very simple stuff. Like sometimes it's just things about your household, like maybe even your address, and you can't remember the characters, and you have to type things into your phone and be like, oh, that's how you write it. Yes.
That's a little bit embarrassing.
No, it is that maybe not that bad because you write your address often enough. But anyway, so we were just talking off the mic before we started chatting and introducing you about your experiences. You said that you met your husband while studying at Oxford. You were navigating a tough time with grad school, and he was already working nearby. After you got married in 2010, you settled down in the UK, but it wasn't exactly smooth sailing. Jobs were hard to come by. It was the post-2008 financial crisis era. Taxes were sky high, and take-home income was meager, to say the least. Then one day, out of the blue, a headhunter called your husband about a job in Abu Dhabi. At first, you both laughed it off, right? Because honestly, who even knew what that was? But something about that call stayed with you. What changed your minds?
What I was thinking about is the sequel of Sex and the City.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I watched that movie with whoever I was dating at the time. And yes, I remember that they went to Abu Dhabi. And no one really knew, I suspect, that movie might have been, sponsored by a company from Abu Dhabi. And it was Samantha who had a lot of problem trying to break into the Abu Dhabi culture because she is more free-spirited. And Abu Dhabi or Middle East is a bit more conservative, right? So yeah, it was that movie that I think got a lot of people to know about this place.
And then I think there's a tagline saying Abu Dhabi is the new New York.
Right, yeah.
I think that was the thing that sold me.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, sure, why not try? But the fun fact is it wasn't filmed in Abu Dhabi.
It wasn't?
It wasn't.
Where was it filmed?
I think it's in Morocco.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
Abu Dhabi didn't allow them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Abu Dhabi was more conservative back then. It was like Sex in the City. Sex in the City.
Yeah,
it
come
already
on
doesn't
now.
sound well with Abu Dhabi to begin with.
Make that pitch, yeah.
Yeah, so I think they filmed it in Morocco. So if you go to Abu Dhabi, you don't really see the scene.
I see.
You see from the movie.
Interesting.
But anyway, so I urged my husband. I was like, hey, just call back, and say you're interested. Why not? So he did. And it took about a year for the entire hiring process. About a year. It was very long. They even flew him over to Abu Dhabi. And my husband was completely sold because they put him in like Jumeirah Hotel, which is like a 5-star hotel. And then he was like, wow, I've never stayed in such a luxurious hotel. Like we pay about 40% of his income in tax.
Yeah.
So your take home is so little. So even if he's already working in the financial industry and he's working for one of the biggest investment banks, we barely saved anything.
Yeah.
And then like even with that kind of salary, when we went out for dinner, we have to find coupons like buy one, get one free, 50% off because we just didn't feel wealthy at all. So you feel you work so hard, you feel you work for a prestigious company, but then you don't save anything and then you still feel very poor. And the worst part is like, right, once I got sick and then I wasn't where my GP, my general practitioner, where I'm not close to him and I was somewhere else, I couldn't even see a doctor.
Yeah.
Because they say like, you have to go back to a GP. But come on, like...
I'm traveling or I'm on a business trip.
Right.
How do I do that?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you feel like, so I paid 40% tax. I couldn't even see a doctor when I'm not close to my GP.
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah.
And so,
mind you, the railway like transit system fails 80% of the time. Yeah.
And plus, it doesn't feel very safe in the city.
Yeah.
Like you have pickpocketers. My mobile phone got pickpocketed once or twice. And you just feel like, right, I pay so much to live here. I mean, the tax wise, but then it's not a safe place. I don't feel safe. The infrastructure is old, hard to find a job. And things are not cheap either. Then what is the point? So when my husband was flown to Abu Dhabi by the employer, well, back then they were just interviewing him. He was just so surprised. He was like, Meara, you cannot believe like the room they put me in. I flew business class as well, like it's just amazing. He was like, this is just so amazing. So I was like, wow, great, go get it, and then he did. And then we eventually moved to Abu Dhabi. But I noticed like so many British people, when they came to the when they went to the UAE, they're just completely stunned by the lifestyle they could have. And then suddenly they moved from middle class to upper class kind of lifestyle. They have buffet often at 5-star hotel. They drink champagne, those kind of things, which they could not possibly have.
I don't know
in the UK.
if this is a common thread between all the Commonwealth countries, like Canada, Australia, and I guess parts of the US, where it's this heavy tax burden, but the infrastructure doesn't really catch up. Because I myself, being Taiwanese Canadian, I also know about not being able to find a family doctor. You pay 40 to 50% of your income to the government, and then you take home disposable income is not enough to really support a family. So you coming from Taiwan,
right?
you're used to, having much less tax burden and also having much more efficiency
Right.
generally around the country in terms of infrastructure, in terms of how the financial businesses are run. So what was your first impression when you went to the UAE? Let's not talk about your husband's impression, because I do feel
Right.
like I have British friends, and I
Right.
feel like
They
British
complain
people
about?
in Asia are just generally happy. They're happy to be there. They're just like, wow, this place is so much better than it was at home. But what was it like for you, being
Right.
Taiwanese and having been to the UK and then you went to UAE? Like, what was that impression like?
The good thing about being a Taiwanese person is Taiwan is also one of a very safe place in the world.
Right.
Because if you go to global safety ranking, you will see number 1, Abu Dhabi, number 2, Taipei, number 3, Dubai. So
Yeah. But correction, Taiwan is very safe when you're not in the streets. The traffic is still pretty crazy around here, but go on.
No, that's because you haven't come to Saudi yet.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I live
Okay.
in Saudi. That's even crazier.
Yeah.
They don't have any lane discipline. But but my impression, well, first of all, because I went there 10 years ago. So Abu Dhabi also wasn't so well developed back then.
Okay.
So I actually was a bit surprised that it doesn't look too much different from my hometown Kaohsiung. I was like, this looks like Guomao. But anyway, so I was like, where is the luxurious kind of thing that you were selling to me? But now it's completely different. Now Abu Dhabi has changed so much as well. So you got Yas Island, which is full of entertainment, like Ferrari World, and Disney is going to open there in 2030, 2033-ish kind of time.
Right.
They have like gold resorts, and also Sadia Island. You got Louvre Museum in Sadia as well. You have Team Lab, you have Natural History Museum opening up, you have Guggenheim Museum. So Abu Dhabi has changed so much. And now, I guess the differences between Abu Dhabi and Taiwan is when you look at Taiwan, you actually feel Taiwan looks pretty old.
I see.
But in terms of efficiency, Taiwan is way better. Way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what about like, let's say, internet connectivity? It's
pretty good,
The
both
tech stuff,
sides.
is it catching up on?
Yeah.
In UAE as well?
But I think the differences, I would say, between Taiwan and UAE, despite the infrastructure and then how artistic, their architectural designs can be, because UAE people really emphasize a lot on the aesthetics.
Yeah.
So you can see their Guggenheim Museum looking almost like an octopus kind of thing. And then their Louvre Museum looks really pretty, where you get a lot of like crazy design, architectural design there. But I think Taiwan is more restricted because we have earthquake. But beside that, I think the differences, I would say, between Abu Dhabi, or UAE in general, and Taiwan is in the mentality.
How so?
I feel Taiwanese people, and I don't know whether it's because of our position internationally, like we always feel there is a threat from mainland China.
Right.
We always feel like we are not able to represent ourselves. When we look at the world, we feel more discouraged. We feel, the world is more like a mystery. I don't really know what to do. Perhaps there are a lot more Taiwanese people in the US or Canada, Australia, those countries. So maybe people feel more familiar with those places. But generally, I feel Taiwanese people are more inward looking.
Yeah.
We're more inward looking. We're focusing more on doing things well within what we can control, and then doing things in a reasonable way. And then that's it. Whereas UAE people, their mentality is more like, why not? Why not? The world is my oyster. Like, if you talk to some Emiratis, they will really tell you, we want to build the biggest, the largest, the greatest something. If it's not the biggest, the largest, the greatest, I don't want it.
I wonder if it's not just Taiwan, but it's also very cultural, and it probably is something that inherited from 5,000 years of Chinese history. I feel like our parents give us a very restrictive way of thinking about our role in this world, how we can behave. I've heard this somewhere, and so you can prove me wrong or not, that when you talk about people in the Middle East, they tend to come together to build, where Asians tend to come together to restrict each other, to say, like, these are the set of rules, follow it. Whereas it's very different on the other side. What do you think?
Well, I think Taiwanese people, the good thing is we are very respectful. We
Yeah.
respect other people's boundaries. Like when I take kids back to Taiwan, I'll constantly remind them like, don't jump, when you're at home because the uncle, the
Someone
auntie living
downstairs.
below you
I tell my
will,
kids that
will
all day.
come and
Yeah.
complain.
Yeah.
Whereas like Arabic kids, they're just wild.
Yeah.
There's no discipline. And then the parents are some of them are proud of that. They're like, yeah, free range, whatever. They do whatever they want. So the good thing is Taiwanese kids were very well behaved, including us. We grew up in that way, very respectful. We care about other people. We're trying to be helpful. And then we try to follow the rule.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Arabs, they don't care. Their mentality is like halas, means like done. A done is done. A halas, halas. Done, done, done. Like, move
No
on.
problem.
No
Let's
problem.
go on to the
Done,
next
done,
one.
done.
Okay.
But then usually when they say no problem, there's tons of problem. But still, it's okay. It's halas, halas, halas. Go,
Yeah,
go,
yeah.
go. Done, done, done. And then their mentality is more like, this is what I want and I can get it.
The world is your oyster, like you
yeah.
said. Yeah.
Yeah. And like whoever can get by basically means you have more power and more influence. And then they look up to those kind of
And
people.
dream big, I guess. So what's it like for a family to say if there is a family led by a dad who is in the tech world and they want to move to the UAE? What's it like to raise a family over there? And is there enough job for, say, the spouse or the family members who follow?
Well, we didn't know how to do a property management business. So I was the one doing everything from A to Z.
Right.
But I just thought, how difficult could it be? I used to run a bed and breakfast business. I'm sure I can do this. So I just started and ran with it. And then, and then that's how it started.
Well,
And-
let's, property management. I have talked to property managers. Your job is to basically, the landlords, hopefully they don't need you, but when they do need your services, something has gone wrong, either with the tenant or with the actual unit itself.
Right.
So was it hard to do that business, especially in the UAE with a different culture of people that you deal with?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I would say a lot harder than in the UK.
Yeah.
First of all, because in the UK, everything is very institutionalized. So there are ways for you to collect rent. There
Yeah.
are ways for you to do XYZ.
Yeah.
You just follow the rule. So you don't really need to do much. But in the UAE, when I started it, it feels like a Wild West. There is no set of rules, no regulations. And there are constantly people creating headache for you because that's how UAE works. A lot of the time, the government, they just decided to do something before they even tell you how to do it.
Yeah.
And then they always forget about foreign investors.
Yeah.
So it's like, for example, you need to register for an app.
Yeah.
How do foreigners do it?
Yeah.
Call this customer service. And then when you call them, they have no clue either. So you're just like, then what? How can I do it?
So who do you go to? Do you form a union?
There's no union. It's not a democracy.
No, I mean, as in, do you form a union of business owners and then go to the government with an appeal, or is that how it works?
No. So basically, you just have to find your way around it.
Oh, wow.
Like find your way around it, meaning try whatever way you could possibly think of to see whether you can find the key man, the key person who can actually do it for you. And very funny, like often when you go to municipality or somewhere, most of them, they have no clue. Even the civil servants there, they have no clue on how things are supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
They just said, no, not possible, or go and speak to that person. You just have to find one person who is actually the only one who
knows how to do it.
Who knows how to do it. And then you take care of it. So we always have to spend a lot of time find out who is that person. And it was like that before. It's still like that now.
My goodness.
But the good thing of this way of doing things is they progress very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They don't need to go through like legislative yuan and then, the discussion, debate, vote. No, it's just like one person said so. The next day it goes.
Okay, I see. So it kind of trains the business owners to be like, hey, this is happening. Find that person. That's now your job.
Right.
And I shouldn't have to think of everything for you before I implement this policy.
Their idea is like, when there are enough complaints, there will be a solution.
What's the word? Hala?
No, it's halas.
Halas. Okay,
Halas.
halas, yeah.
Halas. Done, done, done.
Yeah. Over the next few episodes, we'll dive into what it's like to raise a family in Abu Dhabi, from raising kids and navigating school systems to the opportunities that await those considering a new chapter in the Gulf. I'm Joey Chow. Join us next week here on Beyond the Reefs.